I want to talk about this Friday's Smackdown. And yes, your boy was there to see it. Very nice seat that I had, floor seat. I believe it was section 7. Maybe it was section 6, but I believe it was 7. Row 6, seat 5. Super close to all the action. Wow, this was a televised event. I don't usually get seats that great, although I have been to a Smackdown a while ago where I sat directly behind the commentator's table as well. So most of the time it's hit or miss, but usually for like televised events, I usually only get lucky enough to get like first level seats. Now, I knew this was going to be a big night. They had already announced, I think, the day before that Brock Lesnar was going to be there. So that was cool, going to a live event and seeing Brock Lesnar. This is only the second time I've seen Lesnar at a live event. The first time was when I went to Royal Rumble 2022 in St. Louis. That's a Rumble I don't really like to talk a lot about because the Rumble itself sucked. The actual Rumble match, the women's one was okay, but the guys' one, it just sucked. And the event overall just felt a little flat. So I went to Smackdown at the Allstate Arena with my best friend and his wife. And I actually got surprised with these tickets. My wife got me these tickets as a early anniversary gift. So yeah, I gladly went and knew I was in for a pretty good time. Now, I had heard the rumors and had the speculation that AJ Lee would return, but this is another case of seeing is believing. We got to the arena, they really weren't stopping and interacting a whole lot because there was kind of a fence there blocking all that out. But I did see 2 vehicles where it looked like somebody was on the back seat and they were kind of like covered up with a blanket over their face. And I'm thinking one of these is probably Brock. And the other one, somebody jokingly said the other one is probably AJ. But I don't know. I mean, I knew it was a wrestler because somebody else was driving and they pulled up to the area where the wrestlers go into, but they they kind of were hidden when they walked out. So we got into the building around, I think they opened the doors around, it said 5 o'clock, but we didn't get in until about 5:20. Everything went smooth, got to my seat, got a nice little meal before that, all that, and everything was good to go. So we opened up the show. And, well, actually, I should probably mention there was a match for a main event. It was Dragon Lee, and I believe maybe it was Angel Garza. It was a pretty solid match. Nice finish. I said Dragon Lee. I'm sorry. I meant Ray Phoenix, not Dragon Lee. Nice little match. Nice finish. Ray Phoenix picked up the win. So not long after we get to the start of the show, we open up with the pyro, all that good stuff, and first thing we hear is John Cena's music hit. John Cena comes out, cuts a nice little promo about how this is his last time in Chicago. Sami Zayn comes out, issues an open challenge. It was a very nice build, too. They both took a decent amount of time to talk, and then we get to the match itself. Now, this was a fun little match. I did have one problem with this match, though. I hated all the finisher kickouts. I feel like when Cena hit that third AA, that should have been it. Even if he was going to drop the title soon, before his match with Lesnar, I'd have been fine with that. But no, this was a little dumb to have Sami Zayn kick out all these AAs and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, you still got to send Cena out on a strong note, especially if you're gearing him up for Lesnar. And that, in my opinion, that just made him look weak as hell. Pretty long match. I feel like this match probably went about 35, 40 minutes, to be honest with you. And we wrap it up with Cena hitting a top rope AA, which takes both guys out. And Lesnar comes out, F5s on both, then we get a double DQ. Now, I already assumed with Lesnar being there, this would happen. So it was nothing that I didn't call. Nice little match, though. I can't give it 5 stars because I'm not a fan of like just kicking out a finisher after finisher after finisher. No, I don't roll like that. I'm more about telling the story, getting to the finish. Hit it once, maybe get a kick out, hit it twice, go home. I don't like people kicking out of finishers, 5 or 6 times. I hate that crap, and I've never been a fan of it. I believe our second match was And I'm mostly going to talk about the matches, not so much like the talk segments, because I'm going to save those for the big ones. I believe it was Damian Priest and Aleister Black, which Aleister Black attacks Damian Priest before the match. And during the commercial, it's just basically Priest selling it the whole time that he's not going to compete. Finally, he runs back in the ring. We don't get too long of a match here. Priest gets some nice little offense in. Aleister Black gets his offense in. We finish with Aleister Black shoving the ref into Priest, and Priest trying to get the ref out of the way, and then he eats what does Aleister Black call that move? Black Mass, I think he calls the kick. He hits that and gets the 1, 2, 3. It's whatever. I don't like Aleister Black. I don't care anyway. Never liked him. You know, dude's got a cool look and all that, but I never cared for him. Don't like him. So who cares? Trying to think what the third match here was. I know they did some talk segments. They did one with like Charlotte in the back, and nobody really cared. They announced that Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton would be a match next week. Orton and Drew had some promos back there, and they announced that their match would be next week. So we didn't get Orton or Drew at the actual show. I know I'm missing some matches here, though. Street Profits and the Wyatt Six. Actually, Street Profits teamed with Motor City Machine Guns for this match. And surprisingly, Street Profits and Machine Guns got the win when Montez Ford hit a frog splash. A little surprising because I know they're teasing the Street Profits split and all that. So should be interesting to see where that goes. Again, we were mostly here for the big stuff, for the John Cena moment, for the Brock Lesnar return, and to see if AJ Lee was actually going to show up, and to see if Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch would actually be in attendance, which kind of gets me to that. So I believe Seth Rollins' music hits, and he's out in the crowd, up in the upper level, just kind of talking about what happened on Raw. And then he brings out Becky Lynch, who comes out to her own entrance. She gets in the ring, starts trash talking Chicago. CM Punk comes out, interrupts her. Basically gets in the ring, says he wants a piece of Seth. Becky, back to her old little tricks, isn't allowing it. Finally, she gets several slaps in on CM Punk. CM Punk eventually just powders out of the ring and is basically like, I'm not doing this. Your husband's a coward, hiding behind you. Becky's like pushing him. Finally, CM Punk says, this is the situation I was trying to avoid. Because everybody here and everybody around the world knows I'd never hit a woman. Thankfully, I've got somebody that will. We wait a couple seconds here and we know the moment's coming. I get my phone out because I know this moment is coming. We hear the song, Light It Up. And light it up they did. I marked the hell out when AJ's music hit. And then when she actually gets to the ramp, man, this woman does not look like she aged one bit. Comes down to the ring, she skips, she kind of smiles at Punk a little bit, she gets in the ring, whoops Becky's ass a little bit, picks up the Intercontinental Championship, poses with it, skips around. And on TV, that's actually how we close out the show. And you could tell how happy CM Punk was that his wife was back. And I totally geeked out too. I get it. But at the actual event, the last match, the closing segment was actually AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston, which turned into a tag match. AJ and Jacob Fatu came out against the New Day. Pretty fun little quick match. Jacob wins by taking out Kofi through a table. And then the funny thing is they actually let a little black kid come in and pin Kofi Kingston. After this was done, the ref counted. Everybody gets their go home. Happy moment. So overall, I got to say this was a very fun show. I loved being there for AJ's return. I loved being there to see Brock in Chicago. But the show itself, it went so fast. It almost didn't feel like a full show, but it doesn't matter. It's the moments that count. And these moments definitely counted. So speaking from the experience, I'm going to give my experience a 5 out of 5 stars. From the show itself, I'm going to say a 4 out of 5. But I had a terrific time. Like I said, marked out to AJ's return, which I might throw a small clip in here. I don't know how this works on YouTube with having the music in there and stuff, but I don't want to mute it because then you won't be able to hear my reaction. I cosplayed as Carmelo Hayes at this event, and of course, again, Carmelo Hayes, he never came out. He didn't have a match. I almost feel like I jinx it when I do this. When I cosplay as Carmelo Hayes, I almost jinx it to where he's not going to be on the show. But interesting enough, he was at the show because I saw before I got there that somebody had posted in the Mania Club group that Carmelo posed for a picture by the fence. But, I never got to see him or anything, so that was kind of a bummer. But it was still fun, some people pointing out my cosplay, coming over to take pics. That's all fun, you guys. So I had a really great time in Chicago at the Allstate Arena. And I really hope AJ Lee's return turns out to be something big. I know she was more of a part of the Divas era and stuff like that, but I really want to see, with me, it's more about, I want to see what she can do now. I want to see what she can bring to the table. And will she fit in with the women's era now? I think she's going to do fine. I think she's been, training. I think she's been studying and stuff. I think she's going to be just fine. I do wish AJ Lee the best. I hope this all works out. But yes, I got to say, her returning is probably in my top 5 list of my own mark out moments. I still think my favorite show and biggest mark out moment that I've been to was a Monday Night Raw that was at the same arena last year when The Rock came out as the final boss to confront Cody Rhodes. I don't remember ever geeking out as much as I did there. And that was actually my favorite show too. But this one was damn close with the experience. So yeah, that's my review of Smackdown from Friday night. And I look forward to next week's Smackdown. And I also look forward to tomorrow night's Raw.